Good morning, Wild Ones. I am working in the studio this morning, and I started the day with a question of what does Momigami, which is a Japanese paper kneading practice. I've done a little bit of this in the past with some paper bags, a paper bag journal that I got really flat, or got really crimply, and then flattened it back out and kind of made it, it was considered like a leather paper. I saw a video by Louise Janetta, and she was talking about her practice of paper kneading, like almost felting mulberry paper, which was so interesting to me. And I've been recently playing with mulberry paper and always playing with deli paper in my studio space. So I thought I'd give it a go. So I'm going to put you face down and show you the process. Okay, so that iron has been sitting on these for a minute, and the one thing I would suggest, this is dry folding. You could wet this and fold it. I wanted to start with the easiest application, and I thought dry folding was by far the easiest. And I want to put this, I have some ideas of how to use this. And I want to glue some down into a journal. This one, I would be worried about leaving it in a in a crumpled state for too long, because I think that glue, that acrylic medium, would hook it together. And I did get one hole in this one, and I got a little tiny hole in this one, but not, there's pretty strong. And where it's very layered, there's probably 5 or maybe 4 or 5 pieces down here. It's definitely less crumply, but I actually like both of them. And I did grab a couple extra pieces of just random collage paper. This is from a book of birds, and I thought crumpling that would be really interesting. I did like watching one person who kind of took her corners and put them in first to kind of protect them from tearing. This is going to be interesting because it has that side piece that is so torn, but I kind of wanted to see how that went. So I'm going to crumple this one up. Obviously, this is a lot thicker paper, so right off the bat, it's harder. Interesting. And then this is glassine, and I use this to pull jelly plate prints from, and I just wanted to try it without and then pull a jelly plate onto it. So I'm going to try crumpling this up and just spending some time today working on the crumple. And then try pulling a jelly plate onto this really wobbly surface. I just wonder what that would look like. So a lot of, I realize there's actually easier. And I did really appreciate the iron moment, because these can be working on like crumpling. It did go down as time went on. It just, the weight of it just kind of pushed that paper down. So I can work on this piece, and that piece is working, but I don't have to do the work of it. And I don't feel like these are done, so I'm just going to keep kind of crushing them all up. So now I have like 5 samples of more finished pieces, less finished pieces. Obviously, I'm always thinking about how to change book pages and magazine pages to be more mine, and this is a way I can imagine throwing some paint on this after and just getting some really interesting results. Now this one tore pretty significantly, in a couple places. This is a much different piece of paper, and this is a little bit older book. I'm not surprised that we had some tearage. I don't mind it, but in comparison to the deli paper that has a little bit of acrylic in it, deli paper is what you wrap a deli sandwich with, a sandwich paper. It's from usually Restaurant Supply or the food area of the world. You can get it usually on Amazon. I find it is incredibly cheap, and it's just a little bit more heavy-bodied than a tissue paper, so I really appreciate it for that. So I have done quite a bit more smooshing, and this is the glassine paper. I have one still under my iron, so this is just one piece. Glassine has a shiny side and a not shiny side. I'm not sure, I might strip this up and iron part of it to see how flat I can get it back out, and then do a deli plate print on the ironed wrinkly, the wrinkly, and then keep a little bit just as is. And I have two pieces of this, so I have many pieces. I could easily do this again. I did a paper bag technique a few years ago, but what re-inspired me was the Momigami, the Japanese art of paper kneading. And Louise Janetta is an artist on YouTube that I saw her working on a piece and was like, oh yeah, I did this with a journal piece with paper bags, recycled paper bags before. And I've been kind of contemplating, I've been walking on a lot of kind of single track hikes with my puppas, and my pups I look down a lot more than I used to before them, because I'm always looking at them and what they're doing. So stopping and looking at the forest floor, especially this time of year, when it's been raining a ton and there's just leaf litter and mold, like leaf decomposition. I don't know, the first thing that kind of came to me when I saw her working was, man, that might be a really good technique to combine with my forest floor thoughts. So that's where I'm headed, but we'll see how I get there. So yeah, I'm really loving it. It feels almost like a chiffon crinkle fabric. Feels much more fabric than it does paper, which is interesting. I also kind of wanted to double it and sew around it and see how that felt. Almost treat it more like a quilting fabric. This piece, I didn't crinkle that much, and it has lots of damage, lots and lots of damage. So this paper doesn't really like this technique, but the fall apart nature of it might actually work for where I'm headed. So that's what that looks like. There's definitely a whole couple holes, a lot of tears. I thought this is where the tear action would really be, but actually it was the other side that really tore up. This piece did great. I do have that one hole, but let me just do a quick investigation. Yeah, not much else. The back looks so interesting to me. And the only parts, the parts I was worried about not being glued down, I didn't need to worry about because it wasn't that big of a deal. This doesn't feel as much like fabric. It does right here where there probably isn't as much glue, but I still can feel that kind of gluey texture. And I find myself really wanting to like crunch and work on specific spots. So I think this might be one I would want to take and really take some time crunching, but I do love how it's kind of starting to look almost bark-like in texture. Interesting. And this piece, wow, this piece has changed completely. It feels so soft and delicious. And it's still very strong. I have one pinprick hole in here is all I found. And the edges stayed really nicely. Definitely folding it where my edges are in, I think helped keep it from tearing. And I couldn't really do that with that littler piece. So because more is better in my mind, I did pull out some more samples. Let's see what this one is. This is a piece of just deli paper. No, this is mulberry paper, sorry. I did finally go get what this is intended for. Is the paper kneading of Japan really started in mulberry. I'm gonna put this blue one underneath just so you can see the mulberry texture. But yeah, it feels delicious. It's definitely soft and airy and gorgeous. Cannot wait to print on that and see what happens. And then this piece, this is like a deli paper. It's a patty paper. It's what's in between hamburger patties in general. And I just wanted to show you one little interesting part. This is what it looks like before I wrinkled it. And this is post wrinklage. And you do lose some size. Like, can you see that the wrinkled one is much smaller than, not much smaller, but smaller than the original. That's an interesting thing. So if you're working to a specific size, try not to start at that size, because you are going to lose some. I was noticing it with the deli paper, and I'm like, I think I'm losing some of its size with all these wrinkles, which is interesting. This is just a plain piece of deli paper. I wanted to try it without any ink on it or any acrylic on it. And then this is a piece of tissue. And interestingly, tissue I thought would really be awful and just rip apart, but it didn't. I really worked it, and it's pretty strong. I guess because we're used to doing that with tissue, I should have thought about that, but yeah. The tissue looks great. It just looks like used tissue paper, which is interesting because I don't know why my brain didn't go to, duh, of course it's fine. It's what people wrap stuff in. So now I have a piece of tissue to play with too. I don't usually use a ton of tissue in my practice because I find I just am not careful enough with it. But I do want to think about the layering and maybe coloring some of this different colors, and tissue just melts away, which is beautiful. It like doesn't show you its edges at all when you're gluing it together. So now I have a nice little stack of pieces to then play with. And I probably won't play with them till tomorrow because I wasn't planning on painting today. I'm definitely finishing up a sewing project. But for me, this get starter, this like thinker project, it's probably less than an hour in the studio time. And I do feel like I have like the beginnings of an idea. I've played a little bit. My brain juices are going differently. I'm problem solving. I am thinking outside of boxes. It's just a place for my brain to really play. Okay, Momigami. I will probably leave this start. So this is just all the pieces Except for the piece that's still under the iron. I'm gonna leave that one there all night long. But this is the start of that project, that a thought idea. I might write some 3x5 cards and put those up as well. But this is my layout wall, and I just pinned all these papers to the surface because I'm finishing a project. I'm just doing kind of the grunt work of like actually sewing it all together and not making a lot of creative decisions with it right now. So my mind has a place to play. And I find when I start a project like this that it's just a technique I've been like introduced to suddenly again, remembered again. Okay, quickly sample out a few pieces. See how that feels. Fit it into your day rather than I must go focus on it all at the same time and I can't start that project till I finish this project. I found these little starter brain teaser projects in my studio practice is really helpful for me to be able to work on it very quickly, put it up here, think about it, really dream about it. I'll probably be journaling about it quite a bit. I did a lot of sketching this morning in my morning journal from my inspirational walk yesterday. And those little, if you watch that one, those little tiny fungus, those little bright orange fungus is what really got me to pick this sheet of paper and really got me thinking about the forest floor in such interesting patterns. I think I'll go out and probably do a lot of photography. Maybe even today I'll take one of the pups out or two of the pups out to go do a really good like investigation of the forest floor. So I mean I've been thinking about it a lot, but I just haven't done the work for it yet. So this is a great way to get started. Wild ones, have fun, play with techniques plus inspiration from your own lives. Just it's where creativity happens for me. I hope your day is creative and lovely and delicious, and I hope that you are enjoying this content. And if you are, please like and subscribe. It just really helps feed the algorithm. And the algorithm is what brought me Momigami.